It's October 30th, 2025, and a lot of stuff has happened. So, Trump orders immediate resumption of U.S. nuclear detonation tests. This is directly in response to Russia doing their test and North Korea doing their test, and some other countries that have been talking about this. So, this is just a power move by Trump. He's just showing everybody that we also have nuclear weapons. This doesn't need to happen, but Trump is just doing this because everyone else is doing it. And he did at the same time that President Xi met with him last night. So this was just a power move. So there's a few countries doing some nuclear tests as we speak and are planning to do it. So hopefully everyone does that correctly. Otherwise, there could be some major bad things. So this isn't really much of a news article, but it's worth noting. And, I don't know when we're going to do this test exactly, but I'm sure it'll be all over the news when we do it. So this is just in response to other countries doing this as well, including Russia. So that's all that really is. Trump is showing force here, and it has been a while since we've done some tests, publicly. So, maybe this is just something we do every few years now, because all the other countries are doing it. But yeah, hopefully we do these tests safely. All it takes is one mistake and a nuclear bomb goes off. So yeah, let's not make sure that happens. And so Trump's just doing this to show some force and in response to other countries doing this. So here's a major story. Putin invites journalists to watch thousands of trapped Ukrainian troops in an encircled zone. Yeah, so you see here, Russia is completely encircling these two major cities that are huge, that are holding a lot of soldiers. And the reason Putin is doing this is because on the western side of the world, like the US and Europe, for some reason, the media and a lot of talking points and heads of states keep saying Russia's losing ground and that Russia's not making any advancements, which is just completely idiotic to think that. And we literally have the data that Russia is making advancements and they're succeeding. So you have the western side of the world lying, saying Russia's not doing anything, when clearly right here they're encircled and they're letting journalists inside there to report on it directly. And basically he's saying that he's going to let journalists in to report on this, and then once they're all gone, then they're going to, take it over. So it's just insane how a lot of people are trying to say Russia's not advancing. They clearly are, and here's the data. And Putin's just doing this to show the world, like, yes, we are advancing. And here it is. Here we are. So there's a lot of troops stuck here. Russia isn't going in on purpose just so that reporters can report on this. And yeah, that's about it. Trump has been saying Russia's making advancements, but when you look at a lot of these generals and heads of the armies and even heads of states, they keep saying like Russia's not doing anything. Just insane. Here they are. They're encircled. So they lied. Point blank. So yeah, we'll see when Putin makes the move. I'm sure he's going to want every journalist out of there before he does it, so he doesn't have a conflict. This is kind of a risk for Putin, to be honest, because there might be journalists who stay behind on purpose just to make him look bad when they invade. I don't really know how that's going to go down, but this is a big deal because Putin is showing you just how much they've conquered and how much they're about to conquer and just how trapped Ukraine is. And I just don't know why so many people on the West keep trying to say Ukraine is winning. Like, no, here they are losing, so that's not true. And that's about it for that. Russia hasn't really done anything yet. They're probably going to wait for Zelensky to strike inside Russia first, which Zelensky already said he's going to. Just completely insane. And Russia will come into these major cities here. But once the journalists are out and they're done reporting on it, I hope. So basically, everyone has been lying to you about Ukraine. Ukraine is losing so much land and people every day. And here's the proof. So, yeah. So anyway, Zelensky probably doesn't like this. Or maybe he does. He loves being a victim. But Putin is basically finishing off Ukraine here. Because once he takes these cities here, like, it's kind of all that's left in regards to any defense that Ukraine has. It really won't be a problem taking the rest of the country over for Russia once they take these places. And that's kind of where we're at. Ukraine could have made a deal. Zelensky would rather die and have his people die. So it looks like Ukraine won't exist soon. But that's not our fault. That's Ukraine's fault. They could have still had a country. So yeah, let's keep an eye on this. And we'll see what the Russian reporters are saying too, because they're probably going to be there first. And so yeah, don't listen to NATO. Don't listen to the Europe when they say Ukraine has a chance. I mean, even Trump was saying stuff like Ukraine can get back all the land. That's only through a peace deal at this point. That's not going to be a military operation. Ukraine cannot defend themselves, so how are they going to go get the land they lost if they can't even defend themselves right now? So yeah, Ukraine's done. Like, they're done. My kids won't even know what Ukraine is when this is all over, and Ukraine could have stopped it. Well, not stop it, but they could have made a deal and still had a country left. But hey, whatever. It's not really my problem. So this is something you'll probably see on the news. I don't know. But, well, probably not, because the news is trying to tell you Ukraine is doing okay when this is just the complete opposite. So this is really funny to me how Putin had to like do this just to show people like, no, we're actually invading Ukraine and we made advancements and this is the proof. As if nobody knows that. So yeah, that's about what's going on there. I really hope that all the reporters can leave before Russia advances, because then that could be a problem. And then it's just some more good, delicious, beautiful war. Fresh Israeli strikes, again, test Trump brokered Gaza deal. So this happened today, by the way. Today's Thursday. Israeli warplanes and tanks struck targets in eastern Gaza on Thursday. Yes, so basically Netanyahu already said he was going to do this, so this isn't a surprise. But even if Netanyahu didn't say that, it's not a surprise. Israel will never abide by any peace plan, I'm convinced, and neither will Hamas because they're getting funded. So this Middle East peace thing is not going to last. I don't think I need to tell you that. And it's just a shame because this doesn't need to happen. Netanyahu is continuing the war so that he doesn't go to prison for his stand down on October 7th and other issues. In fact, I think he was supposed to have a trial date today, the day that he airstrikes. So now all of a sudden there's no trial, right? This whole thing's ridiculous. Israel's never going to stop. Hamas is never going to stop. And at some point, Trump just needs to tell Israel, you're on your own. We're not going to fight for you. And we're certainly not going to give you money, even though he still is giving them money. But maybe this will change it. Trump can't be happy about this. He really wants for his legacy. He really wants to be the person that stops the Middle East wars. And people remember him for that. But that's never going to happen if Netanyahu's in charge. And has nothing to do with us. We're in America here. If Israel and Hamas want to fight forever, that's fine. I really don't care. But why are we giving money over there to continue the fighting? Yeah. So this whole Israel-Gaza thing is ridiculous. Everyone knows it, and nobody actually believes both sides are going to stop fighting with each other. I mean, that's just insane to actually believe that. But it's worth mentioning because this is what Israel does. They agree to the peace plan, but then they don't. And then they say, oh, we're sorry, we're going to do it now. And then they do it again. And then, okay, now we'll be peaceful. So this will not be the last time Israel does this. Israel will probably do this again very, very soon. And that's just it. So all those people in Gaza are getting murdered for no reason, even though there is some Hamas there. But it's a no-win situation, especially when the U.S. is supporting Israel so much. Like, what can Gaza do to defend themselves? Even Hamas, like Hamas isn't even like that big of a threat when you compare it to Israel. So the fact that this Israel can't win a war against them when they've been fighting for decades is like, okay, this is by design. It's kind of like Afghanistan. You mean to tell me the United States of America couldn't defeat the Taliban over a 20-year period? No, we actually lost that war, by the way, because once Biden withdrew from Afghanistan, you saw the parades, you saw the Taliban take over. They literally took over the city and started making their own laws and rules. Like, that's called losing the war. We fought against the Taliban, supposedly, and the Taliban won, and they're still there, and the Taliban's never been stronger. So that's called a war by design. Obviously, the U.S. could defeat the Taliban, and they could do that in 7 days. But 20 years in the Middle East, and then we lose, yeah, that's not a war that we were meant to win. And our generals made sure that we weren't going to actually win this war, but it just needed to carry out. And this is the same thing with Israel. Israel's always going to be attacking, and Hamas is always going to respond. So that's called a forever war. I mean, especially when Hamas is being funded by the U.S. and Israel and other groups. It's the same thing, just in a different region. And, well, not really a different region, but different country. So, yeah, this is nothing new. Israel will continue to do this. Hamas will respond back and forth, and it's never going to end. So, just some more delicious war going on that everybody loves. More innocent people dying for no reason. It's just great. And then, so yeah, signatures as soon as next week. U.S.-China deal closed, but Senate unveils major victory for American farmers. Yeah, so this has a lot to do with China's president, Winnie the Pooh, went to South Korea yesterday, where Trump is, and they had a meeting. They might even do another meeting. It lasted over an hour and a half. First time they actually met since 2019. They gave some opening remarks, and then they had their meeting. So that's a big deal because China is, sus. I wouldn't just trust everything they say. And Trump knows that more than anybody. I mean, Trump was like the first person to go against China. And, yeah, so Trump's making good deals for the U.S., but he's also making fair deals. This isn't like a one-way street like China's been doing with us. It's going to be a good deal for China, too. It's just Trump is going to make sure that the U.S. gets the upper hand in this deal. And, yeah, I mean, look at some of these headlines. China to buy at least 25 million metric tons of soy per year. China, 25 metric tons per year for next 3 years. Other countries will buy 19 metric tons of U.S. soybean. China deal signature possibly next week. TikTok, fentanyl. They made a deal on fentanyl. Like, Trump did so much in this one One small, short, hour and a half meeting. And by the way, Winnie the Pooh said he's going to come to the U.S. in January. And I don't know if that's going to be at DC or Mar-a-Lago, but so this is just the first phase. Like, this isn't even the major part of the deal. I'm sure once he comes here and meets with Trump, everything will be finalized, and they'll probably add some more stuff. So this is a big deal. You have the two biggest economies in the world, United States and China, coming together and making trade agreements. That's good, especially if it's not one-sided. And, China's definitely not an ally, but it would be good to be on good terms with them just in case anything happens, especially economically. So yeah, Trump is once again delegating. He's doing an amazing job. He just met with all these leaders in Asia, Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Japan, South Korea, even Qatar or Qatar. And now he's meeting with the Chinese president in South Korea. Trump has already met with like 10 leaders just in the past few days. That's more than Biden did in 4 years. And again, Trump doesn't sleep. So like this isn't a big problem for him. He was literally up all night in South Korea, time difference. And yeah, he probably hasn't slept in like 3 days, to be honest, but he loves it. He doesn't care. And so we'll see what the final agreement is. This is a great start. I recommend you go read this article. It really kind of tells you a lot of stuff. But this is just a start. I mean, I really believe when Winnie the Pooh comes here and they finalize another deal, it'll be even better than this one. And this one's really good so far. So that's a big deal. I mean, anytime you have two of the leading economies meet for whatever reason, it's a big deal. So, and this was kind of due. I don't know why Winnie the Pooh took so long to meet him. Trump's met with like every single other leader in the world. I don't know why he's like the last one, but yeah, he probably wanted to see what Trump was going to do in the beginning of his term. And China, they said a lot of good things about Trump. Oh, you're so nice. But secretly, they don't really like him because he's strengthening the U.S., which means China will be weakened. So when they're on TV, they're going to say these good remarks, but secretly, China doesn't want Trump in there. So anyway, that's a big deal. So Trump is just nonstop hardworking, 24/7, making deals, meeting leaders, even people he doesn't like. And yeah, that's what a president does. I mean, Biden didn't do any of this in a 4-year period. Trump did all this in a day. And that's not even including the deals he made with Japan, Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia, Qatar, all within the last week. Like, major escalation in trade deals. So here's a bad story, Massive Charlie Kirk assassination revelation. In late September, FBI Director Kash Patel blocked Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard from investigating any foreign or domestic accomplices in Charlie's murder. All right. So basically, everybody knows Charlie Kirk was murdered, and everybody knows that the official story's not real, or it's not true. And even the guy, the kid that supposedly killed him, Tyler Robinson, like, I don't even think he pulled the trigger. I'm not saying he's a good guy. He's clearly a weird, lefty, transgender person. I don't know. But anyway, and I think he's still pleading not guilty. I haven't really kept up on it, to be honest. But he's probably right. I mean, they probably did try to use him. It's really weird how his dad had to call and they immediately found him. And then his dad got paid. People don't want to mention that. His dad got paid to turn his son in. Anyway, Kash Patel has been really rocky. He does this really good thing, and then he does some really bad thing. And I think he's just, I don't really know. if he's a deep state operative, like, he's doing a pretty good job, because every time he does something bad, he does something good to overshadow it until it goes away, and then another bad thing happens, so he has to do something good, take over the news. I don't really know what to think of Kash Patel, because I like a lot of what he's been doing. I also don't like some of the stuff he's been doing. This is something that, I mean, this is insane that he blocked Tulsi Gabbard from investigating. I don't know how he has the authority to do that when Tulsi's the DNI. I'm pretty sure the DNI has more authority than the FBI, but maybe I'm wrong. And Tulsi Gabbard, by the way, is just an absolute, like, amazing person. I would vote for her for president in a heartbeat. She is so brave, and we need that, especially in her position. So for Patel to block that is insane, which makes me think Tulsi was going to find foreign intelligence, probably Israel. People have been saying Israel connections, especially with his wife. And according to the text messages that Charlie Kirk was sending to people like Candace Owens and other people, like literally like the days before he was killed, he was saying like, yes, I'm probably going to get killed, and, you know, I'm not 100% for Israel as I used to be. You know, you just got to take all this in consideration. I'm not directly saying Israel murdered him, but the fact that they blocked investigating foreign accomplices makes me believe that they were. Because if they have nothing to hide, why would they block any investigation? And we're still waiting on the autopsy, huh? Yeah, I'm sure we'll get that soon. Anyway, Charlie Kirk was the greatest person in America, arguably. He was smarter than any politician we've ever had. And he was going to be president, and he was going to be my generation's president, and they took it away, just like everything in my generation gets taken away. You know, my generation's cooked. Like, we have no future unless Trump can really turn it around. But it is what it is. My generation's used to this, have something beautiful taken away from us forever. So it's just what it is. Charlie's never gonna... Well, Turning Point USA will never be as influential as Charlie was. And I'm kind of nervous about Turning Point because nobody trusts Erica Kirk, obviously. I mean, I'm not going to go down that road. Just do some research. Erica Kirk makes it really hard to believe her when you look at her backstory and the connections she's had. And she's probably just a honeypot, you know. That's very common. Kings and queens have been doing that since the beginning of time. Honeypots are one of the most effective ways of blackmail. So, you know, Charlie Kirk didn't deserve that. He was a genuine person who was preaching the gospel. But that's what happens when you're a genuine person preaching the gospel. You're probably going to get murdered, and your legacy will be tainted. And they will turn what you did into something bad. So I think Turning Point in a few years will be promoting secular, anti-Christian ideas, because we live in this world, and every time something good happens to someone who's a Christ-following person preaching the gospel, they always end up murdered, and they always end up, whatever they built gets turned around for evil. That's just how the world works, you know. Yeah, so, because Charlie Kirk was a real Christian. He wasn't just going to church. He knew what he was talking about, and he knew what he believed in. So it was actually expected for him to get murdered. I mean, Christ said this: if you're going to preach the gospel, like, you're going to get killed. So I don't think Turning Point will ever be as influential as Charlie. And it's probably just going to turn into this political leftist thing where the Christian values of Turning Point will be turned the opposite. Just the complete opposite of what Charlie wanted. But, you know, we live in an evil world. So Kash Patel has to explain himself. If he doesn't explain himself, then I think I want Kash Patel removed. You know, this is Washington. If you don't do the right thing, we want to remove you. And Cash has been, kind of weird with his private jet usage that taxpayers pay for. And his wife seems like a honeypot from Israel as well, believe it or not. I've heard people say Cash Patel's gay and his girlfriend is just there for show. Who cares? All I know is Cash Patel has been doing some weird stuff lately. And and Trump doesn't want to just remove people every few months and put in a new person. So I don't think Patel will be removed even after all this. I just think he needs to be careful because Trump's base is watching him closely right now more than ever, especially after this. So Tulsi Gabbard should do something about this too. Like, I don't know what authority she has because I don't know how the FBI can block the DNI. I would assume the DNI is more powerful than the FBI, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. If I was Tulsi, I would go directly to Trump and be like, "Look, I need to do this," because Trump loves Tulsi. He'll basically do whatever she wants. So we'll see what happens here, but not good. Not good for Patel's standpoint. Not good for Charlie Kirk's legacy. I'm sure Erica Kirk is happy about this. So that should probably tell you something. But everyone knows there's a cover-up. Everyone knows there was more than one shooter. And everyone knows that they covered everything up. So that's called a false flag. And Charlie was the victim of it. My generation's president, out of all people. But yeah, so that's not good. Hopefully Patel does something, or I don't know. I don't think he's going to do anything. I think Tulsi has to do something now, if she can. Yeah, that's about it. So sorry, Charlie, that this is happening. So before, I just wanted to talk about this 3i Atlas. So today's October 30th. We are expecting Atlas to pass by today. And it's just super interesting. I think everybody should take a look at 3i Atlas, regardless of what you believe it is. It's probably not an alien spaceship. And even if it was, that would be demons, not physical aliens. Those are called fallen angels. But anyway, this thing is the most interesting space thing in my lifetime and probably ever will be. Nowhere in history have we ever seen anything like this. 3i Atlas is bigger than New York City. And it has flashing lights with different colors. And it's coming towards Earth. So yeah, who knows? And it's supposed to go behind the sun, so we can't see it. So if you try to look for it in the sky, you're not going to see it. And there's also 2 other spacecrafts that came out of nowhere. Nobody knows where they came from. And they're going to meet. They're going to come very close to each other. Nobody can explain this. Nobody can explain where the spacecraft is coming from. It's not a comet. And it's not a meteor. It's a craft with engineering and technology with lights. And it's emitting H2O. Where did they get the water from? So who knows what this is? Is this Project Bluebeam, preparing for the fake alien invasion? Who knows? But it's fun to think about. I don't have any answers, and neither does anyone. But it's just fun to think about the possibilities of what this thing is. Because when is this ever going to happen again? When are we going to get something passed by Earth that looks to be man-made, and it has perfect precision? It's steering. It has no propulsion system, but somehow it's just going, and it's going super fast, faster than any object ever. They think it's from the Andromeda Galaxy, but who knows, and who really cares? It's just fun to think about. But I would do some research on this if I were you, just to get your mind rolling. Yeah. And it's specifically passing right by Earth at an angle where you won't be able to see it. So it seems very coordinated, like they planned this to come by Earth at this time, at this date. So it's just fun to think about. Who knows what's going to happen? Someone was saying it might land on Mars. because it's supposed to get like really close to Mars. And there's talk about an ancient civilization that used to be on Mars. There's remnants of that, and some people were saying this is the civilization coming back. Who knows? But it's just fun to think about. But because that's supposed to happen today, so, or tomorrow, we'll see. So just some other headlines. DHS reports death threats against ICE officers surge 8,000%. Yes, that's why they wear the mask. You know, there's only like 10,000 ICE agents, and they have an 8,000% attack rate. So if you're an ICE agent, you're going to get attacked at some point. That's just the beautiful leftist ideology for you. But don't worry, Democrats aren't violent. They just want to kill you. But I promise they're not violent. You know. I can't even say that with a straight face. J.D. Vance calls Marco Rubio his best friend in the administration after Trump floats 2028 ticket. Yeah, they talked about this before. It's definitely going to be a Vance-Rubio ticket. Unless Obama runs, then Trump will run. Nobody's going to beat a J.D. Vance-Rubio ticket. Marco Rubio got unanimous Senate approval from Democrats. He got all the Democrats to vote for him. Which is not good, by the way. I don't really like that. Rubio is a little suspicious, especially in his past. But, you know, J.D. Vance and Rubio, that's a ticket that nobody could beat. The Democrats can put whoever they want. But nobody's gonna beat a Vance-Rubio ticket. Blah, blah, blah. See anything else? Trump calls for prison terms following revelation the FBI may have spied on 160 Republicans under Biden. Yeah, that's nothing new. Trump's been saying that. Pam Bondi's not going to do a damn thing about this. Trump is saying that 160 Republicans were spied illegally, which was true, and there was more than that. But it doesn't matter. Bondi's not going to do anything about it. So that's just great. New Jersey Attorney General pushes to bar Fed election monitors for polling places. So the next election is going to be interesting because the Democrats will do whatever they can to win. But Trump is going to issue paper ballots before the next major election, I fully believe. So, like, I don't think the next presidential election will be controversial because we'll have paper ballots that will have like 100% accuracy on, and we won't have to wait 3 days for them to decide who wins. So, yeah. But that's a while away, and I really don't think the next presidential election will be as controversial as the past two have. Well, 2020, really. Because everyone knows Trump won, and they covered it up. Trump was briefed on this by Patel in his first, week. And, yeah, so everybody knows that. Snap users are losing their minds on TikTok. Promise looting spree as food stamps are cut off. Yeah, we've seen this. The Democrats want this. They want their base to riot. And the Democrats will open their government once the riots stop. So that's basically that. Many in crime, murdered in Democrat-controlled city of Memphis. Happy about Trump sending National Guard here. A lot of people in Memphis are very happy about this. I mean, obviously, but a lot of cities are protesting this, but a lot of people, Memphis seems to be very receptive to the National Guard. So that's a good thing. Memphis is just a terrible city to live in. Obama calls for government censor diversity of opinion in journalism or something. Yeah, Obama is... I don't need to explain this. You know who Obama is. He literally put in laws that censored journalists when he was in office, and we all know what he's up to. CNN launches second attempt at streaming. That's pretty insane. I mean, they're just trying to lose money. Nobody's going to pay for a subscription service to CNN, especially when it's on free at all these airports, bars. CNN is on waiting rooms in doctors' offices. Nobody's going to go pay to watch it when it's everywhere. Experts say China's behind potent replacement for fentanyl emerging in the U.S. Wow, what a shocker. Yeah, this was discussed in the Trump meeting today, and it'll also be discussed in the next meeting. Trump is putting pressure on China about the fentanyl thing. You may not see it. He is, and we just won't see the effects of it for a while because there's already a lot of drugs here. So Trump is trying to stop that, and then once it stops, then you'll see the positive benefits from it. It's an ongoing issue. China's not going to try to stop selling drugs. Why would you? It's easy money. Same with Venezuela. It's just the easiest way to make money ever. Purple-haired damn lawmakers freaks out on House floor over SNAP benefits. Yeah, we saw that. It's not really worth our time, to be honest. 4 Republicans side with Democrats in attempt to block Trump's Canada tariffs. Okay, well, time to vote them out, those Republicans. Trump hammers out major deal with Xi to slash tariffs, boost U.S. exports. Yeah, this is just the beginning, and it's already a great deal that they've made, so yeah, just the beginning. Trump has reduced dependence on food stamps by 600,000. That's a huge deal, and that's only going to go up, especially as more deportations happen. I don't know if you guys saw the statistics, but over 70% of all SNAP benefits and food stamps are towards illegal immigrants. Do I need to say anything else? That's about it. NVIDIA becomes the world's first $5 trillion company. That's insane. NVIDIA is just going off. NVIDIA, I know a lot of people buying stocks in NVIDIA is just soaring. So that's about it that happened today. A lot of stuff happened today. Hopefully the next meeting with Trump and Winnie the Pooh will be even better. And hopefully Israel stops striking Gaza. Wishful thinking. Yeah, so... And we'll see what happens with the nuclear test that we're going to do. I'm sure it's going to be a big deal, and I'm sure Trump will advertise it because other countries are advertising theirs. So Trump wants to be the best. So that's about it. Tomorrow's Halloween. Stay safe. I'd probably go grocery shopping before the weekend, and just to be safe. And look out for 3-Eye Atlas. Who knows what that thing is, but I really hope that we get more information on it because nobody has any info on this right now. I think it's going to have to pass by us, and then we'll have more info from maybe our closer satellites. But this is the biggest thing I've ever seen in space. It's obviously like a man-made thing. It has flashing lights with different colors on it. And it's emitting H2O, and it's driving with precision. So, yeah, who knows what it is. If there's aliens, they're not aliens. They're fallen angels, otherwise known as demons. So that's it. It could be anything, but it's just fun to think about. So a lot of stuff happened today, and unlike yesterday was very boring. So this was kind of a longer video, I think, but it's okay. There's a lot to talk about, and hopefully the SNAP benefits don't turn out to civil unrest. But if it does, just be ready. All right, well, that's it. I'll see you guys next time.